Welcome to Fashion Voices, a show that brings together the industry's hearts and minds for an unfiltered discussion on a new topic each week. This week, we are talking about gender fluid fashion, and I have two fantastic guests. Joining us from New York is the actor and dancer, Parker Kit Hill. Parker's first career as a professional ballet dancer got sidelined by huge success on Vine. These days, Parker keeps himself busy acting and modeling whilst continuing to have us all in stitches on TikTok. Joining us from Paris, we have the activist and poet, Jamal. Currently poet in residence at the ICA, Kai's work aims to centre marginalised voices and perspectives. Kai has modelled for brands including Fenty, Stella McCartney and Browns, whilst using their platform to highlight the role of fashion and clothing in the trans experience. Hello!
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going great.
We're just going to dive right in. What does gender fluid fashion mean to you? How would you describe it? Kai, would you like to start us off?
For me, it's just fashion. I try not to be limited by my gender in what clothing I put on. But it's also, I guess it's like a form of armor. Clothing is such an important way to like protect yourself or showcase yourself or celebrate yourself. For me, I guess gender fluid fashion doesn't exist, but for me, all fashion, all clothing, all garments are gender fluid or should be.
Really interesting. Parker, what does gender fluid fashion mean to you?
Just being in tune with who you are. I just do whatever I can to make myself feel good. And I guess fluidity comes into play because, I jump on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to fashion because, in women's clothing, it's more form-fitting. And I feel like because I'm so skinny, I have to shop in the women's department or section because it fits me better and I look proper. And I feel like there's more options and you can have more fun with it. Like it's more expressive in my opinion.
Do you have any understanding of like the history? I'm saying this as if I might, but I don't. But do you have any understanding of the history of gender fluid fashion?
I feel like gender fluid fashion has existed for as long as gender variant people have existed, which is as long as people have existed. I mean, like, even if you look into kind of black or brown archives of like cultural dress, gender is not something that's at the forefront of it. It's more about pattern or color or style. People say like Prince was a man wearing girls' clothing on, and it's like no, Prince was just a person who looked fab, and like that's it.
I read something about the history of high heels, and it's basically just men trying to look taller for millennia.
Men started heels, like 100%. Like men were wearing heels before women. So I think it's funny now the roles have switched and it's only women wearing heels. I think now people are getting bored with the status quo. People want to reinvent themselves and really find what's meant for them. Men are wearing makeup now and they're doing all these different things that were just kind of held back for women, and it's changing the game.
The limitations and I guess boundaries and all of these ideas that we set up, we're slowly, hopefully, disintegrating. Fashion has to keep up with that because the more we exist, the more they have to cater for like our bodies. Queer culture, it is the forefront of the fashion industry, and as the world molds into something else, fashion will have to keep up, otherwise it will be kind of left behind.
Interesting. I think it's important to recognize that what gender fluid fashion might mean to a cis straight person is different to its significance within queer, trans and non-binary communities. In light of that, how do you feel about the increasing presence of gender fluid clothing in mainstream fashion?
They love to put a straight man in women's clothing and then it's groundbreaking. But it's like, we've been here doing this entire time. Like, why don't we get recognition for it? I don't know. How do you feel about it, Kai? Because I'm like...
You're like, yawn, we've got this.
You're so right. Like, it's so that. And also, I think there's something about people who can put on and take off women's garments and still navigate the world as a cis white man. That's what people have to understand, that this is not just us putting a garment on. This is us being like, this is my identity. This is who I am. And I know that this makes me unsafe, and I still will do it. And I think that's the part of our community that I'm always in awe of.
We have to go through so much just to exist, which is so insane.
Exactly. I like gender fluid fashion being incorporated into mainstream fashion. But I think, yeah, like Parker said, if that's the case, then those who are on the mood board should also be in the campaign.
That.
Yeah. Boom. For this section, we have asked each of our panelists to bring a picture of themselves that represents a great moment in personal style. Let's have a look at them. Kai, let's start with you.
When I live in those like high femme fantasies, it's because that's kind of unlivable for me to be in. So when I can do it for like half a day, I can like throw myself fully into it. And that's what I did here. I've spent so long like hiding my body. And this was a metaphor of that, like this like paneled bodysuit that hides everything I want to hide and shows skin and all the places that I want to show skin. And I think that is very much like my expression of gender fluid fashion, of just duality and existing in multiple dimensions. I've never ever seen myself high femme and not been dysphoric until that moment. This is my final form. When I ascend, this is how I want to ascend.
Love that.
It's a beautiful picture. Shall we look at Parker's picture?
That outfit is crazy to me because I have on Ivy Park. Beyonce sent me a piece of Ivy Park. Oh, when I tell you, I cried. Like, I was at home. I didn't get a huge box like everybody else. I just got like a simple package. And it had a note from Beyonce in it. And I was like, she sees me. Oh. The jacket in that, it's like a green trench coat that I thrifted like 6 years ago, but I went and got it embroidered with my name on it. And then the bag is a Birkin, honey. That outfit for me is just so New York. Like, it's very like, I'm going to go and like attack the city today. Like, it's very tactical and strong and easy. And I feel so powerful in that outfit.
Yeah, I love this picture. All of the hard elements are also playful at the same. It's brilliant.
Thank you so much.
When did you first start dressing in a way that challenged gender norms? Parker.
I was someone who would just wear like skinny jeans and a tight t-shirt because that in Texas was enough for me to get attacked. Right when I landed in New York, I was like, wow, I don't feel anything. I feel no negativity. I can just be me. I just felt like I was, coming into my own finally. Like I finally had the space to express myself properly. And once I started doing that, everything started to change for me.
Kai, when did you first start dressing in a non-gender conforming way?
I had the other word before I had the trans word. I had tomboy, which is basically trans before you know what trans means. I liked wearing boys' clothing from a very, very young age. And then in my transition, I got really caught up with like passing and emulating cisgendered men. I don't know why. There was just one day where like I fell into this new state of understanding that I'm running away from any femininity because I think that both things can't exist in one person. So then I switched up and I went super high femme. I started like experimenting with like both, wearing like, I don't know, super femme tops and then really huge like tracksuit bottoms and massive Timberland boots. And I guess, yeah, it's just been a continuation forever.
Which designers do you think are excelling in this space?
Christopher John Rogers, number one. We love Christopher. He's the best. I feel so blessed to have walked for him before. I've actually done 2 of his shows before. Icon. No, 3. I just remembered.
Come on.
I've done none, thank you for asking.
Christopher is doing the best, in my opinion. He's like this gorgeous black man, and his mind is just there. The clothing, the materials, the shapes, like literally everything is just on point forever. Like, I love him. So yeah, that's the number one and only for me.
Kai, is there anyone that you think is designer-wise that's killing it?
Gypsy Sport, Telfar, obviously like fab, but also like I love looking back at like London homegrown talent. So I love Bianca Saunders. I think she's bringing a new tailoring onto menswear fashion that has this very femme touch and is all about boys who dance and boys who move and boys who move in a femme way, and also linking back to like her own Caribbean culture. I really love that. Also, my friend Thomas, who runs MMRS Studio, I just live for anything that has a cutout where it shouldn't have a cutout. I'm just like, yes, just give me skin. Especially in London right now, there's a lot of incredible queer black fashion forward thinking that's coming, and it's fab.
I need to move to London. I think that's the next thing for me.
Come on, it's lovely.
Come.
For my final question, I just want to ask, how will this impact the whole world of fashion?
It's changing the world now. Look at fashion. Look at fashion. Look at Margiela right now. Like, look at Burberry. Look at everybody. Givenchy. Like, look at all of these brands. They're switching it up, finally. And I'm super excited because I feel like we are in a good place right now. We are in a very good place with fashion.
I think for sure it will change the world. And I think people are realizing that everything they once thought of, like, it doesn't exist. Like, this whole thing, like gender and buying, it's all just a playground. We're here to have fun with it. And the rules are now to be broken. I care more about the generation to come. I hope that they realize that they can look up and be like, oh my God, there's someone on a magazine who looks like me. And they're being celebrated for it. And they're not being drawn down for it. Because I think that's what we all needed as kids, for sure.
Wow.
Oh, on that note, we've run out of time.
No.
A beautiful sentiment, though. Thank you so much for being here on the panel. It's been so interesting.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Bye. Like what you see? Subscribe to the Farfetch YouTube channel now.